Boom. Okay, let's hop right into it. So today what I want to do is just share a quick story that I experienced as a kid, just to give everybody a little bit of perspective. So I've shared before that my family originally comes from India, and my parents have taken myself and my brother back to India several times since young age. The first time I went to India, I was actually 6 months, I think, yeah, maybe 6 months old the first time I went. And then every few years since then, we've gone, every 3, 4 years, sometimes longer, sometimes less gaps of time. But there was one experience which stuck with me in our trip in, I believe it was 1992. So I was about 5 years old. And if you've never been to India before, it's a pretty intense experience going to India, coming from the United States and going to India as a young kid or at any age, really. It can be a very intense, overwhelming experience because of how many people are there, and the way that that people live out there. It really will shift your perspective in a life-changing way. And definitely at the age of 5 or so, when we went in 1992, I had an experience which really stuck with me to this day. And I don't think I'll ever forget that experience. So what was that experience? We were out, myself, my parents, my brother, we were out probably, I believe we were just going to get something to eat, going to a restaurant, or maybe going shopping, something like that, either going to eat or going shopping. I can't remember exactly, but I vividly remember being in an auto rickshaw. That's one of those, I don't know if you've seen them before. It's like a one guy's driving in the front and then people sit in the back, like a motorized kind of a little vehicle. It's a type of taxi transportation out in India just to get around. So we were in an auto rickshaw. We hopped out of the auto rickshaw and we were about to go into this place. And I believe back then there were, I believe we were asking for directions. So back then there was no Google, none of that stuff. So you couldn't just look something up. You had to ask somebody, hey, I'm looking for this spot. Where's it at? So I believe while my parents were doing that, talking to someone, asking for directions, I saw a young kid, a young boy about the same age as myself. I was about 5 at the time, and he was probably 5 years old at the time as well. And you know how it is as kids, when you see another kid, you kind of just connect with the kid, and you're just like, oh shit, there's another kid, I'm a kid. Like, there's just a connection. I don't know what it is, but kids have connections with each other like that. So I saw this kid and made eye contact with him, and we just kind of connected for a second. And at that moment, I realized, like, wow, this kid is actually standing there with no clothes on at all. And I was kind of at the age of 5, I was kind of, my brain started kind of getting scrambled. Like, why is that? Why is that kid standing there with no clothes on? And I started wondering, like, where are his parents at? Why doesn't he have anybody with him taking care of him? So I was just kind of confused, and I kind of looked around and I was wondering, okay, his parents must be somewhere around here. Why is this kid here with no clothes on in the middle of the street, just standing there by himself? And I still remember he was kind of crouching down, kind of, just squatting down. And while I was looking at him and he was looking back at me, he reached down and grabbed a handful of just dirt from the road, just a handful of like kind of sand, dirt, picked it up, put it in his mouth, and basically ate it. And I know kids do crazy things and kids eat dirt and things like that, even in the US. But I think even then I kind of realized this was a little bit different. This wasn't just a kid who was sticking dirt in his mouth because he didn't know any better, basically. This was a kid who was putting dirt in his mouth, most likely because of the hunger pains that he was experiencing and not having any other food, not having access to food or maybe even water to replace the dirt that he's putting in his mouth. So he was probably just putting the dirt in his body to to alleviate himself of the hunger pains. And even at that young age, at the age of 5, I kind of realized that. And I realized, whoa, that kid actually doesn't, if he doesn't have clothes, he probably doesn't have access to water. He probably doesn't have access to food as well. And it looks like nobody else is looking out for him. And at that moment, I kind of realized, I looked at both my parents and I was like, wow, it's really just because I have these people here taking care of me that I've got nice clothes on. You know, at the age of 5, I had a nice t-shirt on, jeans, some decent shoes. And, you know, on our way to go eat, if I said I was thirsty, my parents were there to give me a bottle of water or whatever it was that I needed. So at that age, just realizing, wow, that opportunity that I've got, you know, to do whatever it is I want in life, there are people out there like that young kid who they just don't have that opportunity. Even to obtain a basic level of education is not something that he had easy access to. That itself is such a struggle. So that gave me an understanding of the opportunity that I have. And if you're watching this, then you also have the same opportunity. And it's not to say that people from certain countries don't have the opportunity. It's more that even when you're in a certain country, there are levels in that country of people who are living at different economic levels. Of course, in the United States, we have a lot of different economic levels as well. In India, there are a lot of different economic levels. So the point is that if you have access to watch a video like this or watch any type of videos, you have access to the internet, you have food, you have clothing, you have water, you have a lot more than other people on this planet currently do. And it's crazy to think that still, with all this technology and abundance of resources, there's an overabundance of resources on this planet. We have more than enough water. We've got more than enough food. Whatever they say, I understand, you know, certain things they say, but I believe, maybe I'm a fool for believing it, but I believe that there are more than enough resources on this planet for every human being to have clothing, to have shelter, to have food, and have water, have these basic necessities. And again, the fact that people don't have that it's a horrible, horrible thing. But what I do believe is that if we, as a collective of humans, as a collective, as we all educate ourselves and continue to bring each other up, we can all contribute efforts towards issues like that and help those people and bring them up so that nobody is living in those types of situations. That people who don't want to be living in those situations shouldn't be living in those types of situations. So the opportunity that's in front of you, the opportunity that's in front of you, the opportunity that's in front of me, we need to respect that opportunity and show it our level of respect. And how do we do that? By showing up every day and not just showing up wherever it is that you're showing up. If you're showing up to a job, if you're showing up to operate your business, or if you're showing up to your classroom, wherever it is that we show up, we need to show up with our game face on, with a mentality of, we should have a mentality of attack everything that we do with a certain level of ferocity, because I do believe that, you know, it could have been very possible for any one of us as humans. Just by God's grace, we've been placed in the families we've been placed in, but very simply and very easily, we could have been placed in one of the other situations. We could be out there with no food, no clothing, no resources, left trying to figure out how to just alleviate the feeling of hunger. So a lot of people don't care, and they just are living life for themselves and just doing things for themselves. And those people, we don't need to worry about those people. Those people don't have anything to do with the people who are making a change on this planet. So if you have an opportunity, you can show your thankfulness for the opportunity and show your respect for the opportunity by attacking everything that you do ferociously, and not taking it easy on anything that you do. Don't relax on your disciplines, because again, there are people out there who would kill to be in your position. So if you don't respect that, you've taken something from someone else who would make better use of the opportunity that you've got. So again, just to round back, I say all that to just kind of share that story of my experience as a young kid in India, because that story left an imprint on my mind, and I can never forget seeing that. And over the years of going back to India, I've continued to see the way that people live. I've seen, people who have, as opposed to living on the street, they're thankful just to sleep in a person's kitchen, as a person who provides cooking services and cleaning services to a family, and in exchange they get some money, they get to eat food, and they get to sleep in a kitchen. They sleep in a kitchen because in the bedroom, the family themselves is sharing 2, 3, 4 people, maybe 3 people in one bedroom. So seeing that, those types of things really help me to shift my perspective on what it is that I have in front of me. And I hope by sharing those kind of stories that it helps anybody out there to shift their perspective and respect the opportunity that you have in front of you, and just go for it. Go hard. Don't wait for anybody's sign off in life. Don't wait for anybody to sign off and approve you to move forward in life. The only person who can approve you to move forward in life on this planet is going to be you. You need to decide that, hey, no matter what difficulties and kind of bullshit circumstances I'm facing, I can make it through this. And you just continue to take another step through all the noise. The world is going to throw all kinds of bullshit in your way when you're making progress and moving towards a more positive situation. Constantly, the world is going to keep trying to pull you back. So it's going to be a fight, but be excited for that fight. Get pumped up for that fight. Be prepared every day. Come in with the mentality of, it is going to be a fight, but, let's go. I'm ready to attack. So I hope that helps. I want to keep this one short. I don't want to take it too long. If I can think of any other stories that I think might help you guys out, and that, I can just think of that I've experienced over the years, I'll definitely go ahead and share that with you guys. With that, I'll be signing off. I hope that helps. Jordan, income over expense, over and out.